Hello guys, and welcome to this new segment we'll be having on our channel, which we're gonna call Talkthrough for now, which is gonna be a series where we discuss everything from games to movies to series, maybe even some songs. We don't know. We don't know.
That's true.
That is true. But this first episode, we're gonna be talking about a new MMORPG that is coming out called Chronicles of Elyria. Just to be sure, the game you're seeing on the screen is not Chronicles of Elyria. It's called Divinity: Original Sin. We just thought you might want something to watch while hearing us talk about a game background. It's not anything really important or anything relevant to Chronicles of Elyria or COE as
we're gonna call it from now.
We're gonna call it COE from now on because Chronicles of Elyria is
quite a mouthful.
Yeah, in length, quite a difficult name to pronounce over and over again. It's gonna be said quite a lot in this.
So, what is Chronicles of Elyria?
Well, as said, it's a upcoming MMORPG. It's set to release sometime in 2017. We couldn't really find anything specific, but we think late 2017.
There isn't a release date yet.
Yeah, there's no release date, but I think the Kickstarter.
Did they say Q4 of 2017?
I think they said autumn 2017.
Okay.
So you can expect it to be late 2017, maybe even early 18. It has a lot of cool new features we haven't seen in MMORPGs before. One of them being that the character you create actually ages and dies within about a year of real life.
Yeah, play. I think there's a 10 to 14 months.
10 to 14 months of lifetime for one single character.
Yeah. So the nice thing about it is you don't lose your character altogether. They still have their own soul.
Yeah.
And when they die, they reincarnate into a new character with the same soul.
Exactly.
So they still have the attributes of your former character.
Exactly.
And from that you make what do you call it? A lineage. Lineage. That's a hard word.
Because the soul will live on forever.
It will, and you just see it as you building like a Game of Thrones house or something like that. You build a legacy of people.
Yeah, and that legacy will go through the soul, which will travel through several characters and persons.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be talking a bit about the gameplay, what there is
to expect actually.
Yeah, what there is to expect, what they have said will be implemented in this game. And after that, we will be having I was going to say brief, but it probably won't be brief, discussion about some of the things that we find questionable and we would like further explanation for.
Yeah. Just to say it, I think we could actually say that one of our big critiques as of now is that we think the game promises a lot. And can they actually
the game
deliver?
Has a lot of really, really awesome things they want to implement and use, and we are very like, can you do it?
Yeah, we're a bit afraid they're going to pull a Molyneux.
They're gonna pull a Molyneux. Maybe you should explain what a Molyneux is.
For those who don't know, the Fables franchise, the creator of those games are called Peter Molyneux, and he had this habit of whenever a new Fable game came out or was about to come out, he promised a lot. He told us it was the greatest game of all time, and when it came out, the games were actually quite good, but they didn't deliver on the promises he gave. And we're a bit afraid this game is doing the same right now.
Yeah, because they are very, very. I forgot the word.
What are you looking for?
I don't know. I can't even find it in Danish. Ambitious. They are very ambitious.
They are, and it's a bit frightening. We saw the same with Legion in World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
They are promising a lot,
but it looks like they're gonna deliver on much of it.
Well, let's move back to Chronicles of Elyria.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about the gameplay.
Yeah.
The first thing about Chronicles of Elyria, which is also very new for MMORPGs, I haven't heard of.
Some have.
I haven't heard about it, but it's that the world is fully destructible, which means that you can chop down every tree, you can dig up.
Every stone.
You can dig up every stone. You can probably create an ocean if you
build a giant penis mountain if you want to.
Yeah, you can do everything. It's gonna take a hell of a lot of time, but it's manageable and it can be done.
promises of penis mountains aren't
encouraged.
Aren't encouraged.
Oh.
But you can if you want to. I hope.
Yeah, I think actually you can. I just think it will be very, very difficult, and it's probably not going to be a mountain. It's just going to be a very big dirt pile
Or statue.
You could probably
in the town square.
Do you think there's going to be censorship? Maybe there's going. I think there's going to be some sort of censorship. There's probably going to be a king saying, "You, dude, I don't want a dick statue in the middle of my town."
Unless I'm at the other end of it.
So,
right?
so you're saying the king would say, "Listen, guys, I'm flattered that you're trying to scope my dick in its actual size.
But take it down. Take it down.
But if I'm not in the statue, then what does it matter?"
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a fully destructible environment. Another thing that's rather interesting about this game is there seems to be no classes. You actually make your character, and what do you say, select a couple of traits or abilities and such, and that forms your character. There isn't a traditional holy trinity of damage dealers and tanks and healers. So it's a bit different. I think there's actually games Has tried
this before.
Yeah, and it worked kind of, but
it's you need a lot of work to make it work.
You do, but it's rather interesting. If you want to, you can be a baker / assassin / mage if you want to.
Yeah, it's just a matter of setting your skill tree properly.
We should also talk about the races.
Yeah, and the funny thing is there actually only is one, and that is Children of Man.
Man with two ends.
Man with two ends, so I'm children with man.
Man.
Children of man. Which is basically just, they say they are humanoid, but I think a clever mind would say that they are human beings. Simple human beings.
Just think about people in real life, like if you have some people from Africa and some people from Greenland, or...
Yeah, the differences in these races will of course be that there are several climates and environments that you can be originating from. So you can't be entirely black. You can be, I don't know if you can be albino, but you can be Caucasian at least. I don't
Asian
know
perhaps.
Asian maybe, probably. So yeah, it's not gonna be World of Warcraft or Skyrim where you can be what's the cat thing? Khajiit,
yeah,
or Night Elf, or
it's probably good to say that this seems like a game with a very low fantasy. It seems like a game where there isn't a lot of different mythical races.
No.
And magic is a thing, but there's not that much of it.
No, it's very. I think you said what some 5% about the entire.
They said that about 5% of the players will be what do you call it, experiencing magic, and actually do something like shape shifting or conjure storms or something like that. So yeah, it's very low fantasy, which is exciting for some, and some don't really like these games.
Yeah,
I think you can compare it to Game of Thrones once again, which is kind of a low fantasy, because the only real thing in Game of Thrones of magic we see is dragons
and the White Walkers,
zombies, and those warlocks in that town with Daenerys.
Yeah, but they weren't magical; they were just magicians, weren't they?
I'm not quite sure. But just try to compare it a bit to Game of Thrones. That's a really good comparison.
In the fantasy spectrum, I would say it's definitely Game comparison. Of Thrones like.
Yeah. There's not a lot of magic, and it's an ancient thing people know exists, but they're not quite sure.
It feels like they make it clear they want to have this feeling of it's actually become, because it's so long since anyone has seen magic. It's kind of become a myth and fable. Kind of thing, something of the past, but they have promised magical aspects, so
I think they actually say that some of your skills are magical things passed down by your ancestors. So magic is a thing, but it's not that big as, like you said, in World of Warcraft or in Skyrim or something like that.
Exactly. The family system.
Yeah. What to say about the family system? You make your character, and when you make your character, you join a family. And you should just look at a family as a tightly knit guild or something like that. It can be compromised of your real life friends or online friends.
Yeah.
And then you make this family, and you can actually arrange marriages with the same sex or the opposite sex, and you can even make babies. Yes. Heirs, actually. If you're the king or queen, you can actually get an heir. And if I think correctly, you can actually, when the king then dies, you have the possibility of playing as your son.
To overtaking you.
Yeah.
And just to make it clear, it's not just the king that can make a child and an heir. It's everybody. It's just, I think it's only the king that gets to call it an heir.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, every player can make a son or a daughter.
Yeah.
But you need to do it with another player. And for the same-sex marriages, you actually need to find a surrogate mother.
Good, you remember that word, because I wasn't gonna help you.
You were dreading me.
Yeah, that's also one of the things we think. One of the things where they are being very ambitious, actually, because a surrogate mother.
It's something about a contract. I actually think you have to sign a baby contract.
Baby contract, exactly. But yeah, it's exciting, and again, something I don't think I've ever seen it in a game.
But what does that mean for a character? Are you pregnant for the next 9 months?
Yeah, it must be.
But in-game
months.
But still.
But that's.
Can you go adventuring anymore? Are you just?
I think.
Are you just carrying around a child and slaying monsters?
Honestly, I think it's a setback.
Yeah, it should be.
It must be.
It should be.
Right. But that's also something like in real life that you gotta think about when you create your character. Yeah. Do I at some point want to get pregnant? Because if I do, maybe I shouldn't be an assassin, because
it would be a bit hard.
Pregnant assassin, that's difficult. Right?
Perhaps I shouldn't go slaying dragons this day.
Yeah. So maybe if you make one of those, then maybe you should be a baker or a grocer,
something like that.
Or I was gonna say miner, but probably not a miner.
Probably not a miner.
But you know,
you should never be a miner and have a kid.
Less. So you say all miners shouldn't have kids?
Didn't you get the pun?
No.
What is a miner?
Just.
You're already tired of me.
I'm so tired of those fucking puns, man.
It was a good one.
I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean, a
good pun
is when it's not detected.
Yeah, and you didn't.
I did not detect it. I did not detect it.
What more? We should talk a bit about perhaps
vitality, the life.
Yeah, vitality. I think you can say both actually.
Vitality.
Yeah. This system, the vitality system, is like in most MMORPGs, except there is a bit more to it. You have the health.
It's the health.
Yeah, but then you also have hunger and thirst and sleep and such.
Yeah. So it's kind of like
perhaps a sim scale.
Yeah, minus the sleep, maybe Minecraft.
Yeah.
If you don't eat in Minecraft, you start to starve, and then you lose your life until like half a heart. So
yeah, that's except if you play hardcore in Minecraft. But actually, you can get stranded in the desert and die of thirst.
In this game.
Yeah. They had an example where you actually, if you walk into a desert and can't find your way home,
you're dead.
You're fucking dead.
Yeah. So that's an issue, but that's a good way of implementing life, because
it's a realistic way.
Beforehand, it's just don't fall off high buildings and don't get too many cuts in a combat. But in this game, you actually have to take care. It's like kind of like Sims, as you say.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that he's well nourished. He has food. He has water.
He has a good bed to sleep in and such.
So in that way, it's this game also kind of sets up for like the literal sense of a virtual reality.
Yeah.
Of you actually have to taken care of a virtual person.
If people actually have seen Sword Art Online, it's
kind of like that.
It's an anime that really it's quite like that. Yeah, it seems like it will perhaps be like that.
Yeah, kind of you being sucked into a game and maybe not fighting your way out of the game, but trying
not
to
that
survive.
part. Just don't worry, guys. Not that part.
Trying to survive within that game, you know.
Yeah. But it might just be good to get out that it's also possible to make a character that's just what do you call it, a crafter who makes. Like you said, you can be a baker.
You can live a very simple life in this game.
You don't need to go out and slay monsters.
Yeah, we don't know if there's monsters.
Actually not. Perhaps it's just other people.
We've seen some concept art, which we're going to show now, of kind of hybrids between several animals. I think there was a bear and an elephant.
Oh yeah, the ursiphant.
The ursiphant, that's right. So like they're going to be, I wouldn't call them mythical, but terrestrial animals.
I actually love the way of just mixing animals and making them something new.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was I thought it was an ant eater. because the snout is very small.
Yeah, but the first thing I said was,
You
that's
said,
a bear elephant.
That's a bear elephant. And then we went in and said, we didn't know what Ursa meant. You had a hunch about it.
Yeah, it's Latin and meaning
Latin
bear.
for bear. But you were actually completely correct. It was bear elephant, just half Latin.
Half Latin.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility for you to just be a crafter, live your life, get a family.
Yeah.
And that's rather interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a way of showing that these games can take so many different angles, you know, because and I'm going to refer to World of Warcraft again. In
That's
World of Warcraft,
the MMO we know.
That's a big MMO that everybody kind of knows, you know. You can have different classes and different races, but in the end, you're all going towards the same goal.
Yeah,
killing
the raid boss.
Killing the raid boss, killing the big Archimon.
Or PvPing or something
or
like
PvPing.
that. Yeah.
I mean, there are several different goals, but not more than 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But whereas this is...
It's spreading out in every direction.
I mean, I think there are thousands of possibilities
but
to do.
that, like we said before, that's...
It
will perhaps be its downfall.
Very ambitious. Very, very ambitious.
So, and... I think we mentioned it at the start. There isn't a lot of gameplay or something like that right now.
No, there's some early alpha footage,
which doesn't have the best graphics.
Doesn't have the best graphics, which is understandable as it is in early development still. But yeah, we haven't really seen any concrete evidence of this becoming an actual game. It's combat.
Yeah. Just to simplify it, they don't have tap targeting like World of Warcraft. They're going in the action route where you actually have to aim and click.
This is, I think, it's gonna be the new era of not mistake, era like time of online combat, where it's more based on skill more than like World of Warcraft tapping.
But it's just because World of Warcraft is so old. Like I said, many MMOs like Guild Wars 2 has the system with action combat. Yeah,
but that's why I say it is a new era that you shouldn't just be good at your combinations on the keyboard. You should actually be good at moving around
and aiming and such.
Aiming and knowing what your character can do of moves.
But I think when we actually saw, they have a presentation video talking about the game was on Kickstarter, and they have a video explaining the game. They actually showed some combat and showed that you can use different styles and such. Again, it seems very ambitious. They said something about you can switch weapons when you know you're against a heavy plate user because you want to slice him instead of poke him and such.
Yeah. Again, just as with the classes, the combat system is very, very complex and very wide.
Yeah.
In some way,
and
which
and perhaps a little bit vague.
In what sense?
That they didn't actually explain how you do combat. They explained the kinds of combat, but they didn't explain how to do the combat.
That's true.
How to control your character in combat.
That's true.
They just showed different styles.
Maybe that's because they haven't really figured it out.
Yeah, but that's again a little bit of a concern.
I agree. But yeah, the combat is gonna go away from the button mashing.
Yeah, the auto attacks.
Auto attacks, as you called it. Magic, we have been on that.
Yeah, we've talked a bit about magic. There's not that more to say. Like we said, it's low fantasy. It is a bit interesting that 5% of... They say that 5% of the players, about 5%, are going to experience magic. And that is that
was a concern of yours.
Yeah, because it's a very low population of the realm or the game.
But I think we're going to cover it in our discussion.
Yeah.
You know?
We'll get back to it.
Yeah.
Should we talk about crafting?
Yeah, the crafting.
Yeah.
And once again, kind of complex as far as what we believe it's gonna be.
Yeah, again, they were a bit vague about describing precisely what it is.
Exactly.
I thought they described that it requires reflexes and player skill. And again, I'm gonna take this back to Fables. Or Fable. Where in Fable 2 you had this mechanic where you had a bar and you had a what do you call it, a dot or something going along the line
in the blacksmithing
in the blacksmithing minigame. And you had to hit a certain point of the bar,
a green area within that bar.
But perhaps then the green area of the bar gets smaller and smaller, and the more times you hit the green bar perfectly, the better the weapon gets.
Yeah, the better the product.
Yeah.
End product becomes. You know?
They're talking about minigames, and you shouldn't just click, I'm gonna make this sort of epicness +2, and then it's made.
And then wait 2 hours for it to be finished. It actually, I think it says something that you need proper reflexes and hand-to-eye coordination is also going to be an important. You actually need some form of skill to be able to produce wares and products.
To bake the best bread.
To bake the best bread, you need to be able to hammer very well. The skill groups, which I guess is the closest we're gonna come to classes.
Yeah, it is. We are actually gonna put up a picture to show it.
Maybe it's good if we also just see it. So there's gonna be combat, survival, crafting, gathering, deviant, and bardic.
Yeah. That's the 6 skill groups,
and all of these is gonna have I don't know if individual, but
they're gonna have a skill tree of some sort.
Yeah, they're gonna have a skill tree. We don't know if they're gonna be merged in with each other or they're gonna be divided. I think combat, that's the classic warrior.
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah,
you learn how to fight.
You learn how to fight. There's really nothing more to it. Survival, it's
gathering resources. And tracking prey and finding water if you need it or something like that.
Yeah, I think what it will do is, well, basically, as it says, it will make it easy to survive in the wild. It will make it much easier for you to survive in large forests or I said foresters.
Forests.
In large forest or deserts or whatever.
The next one is crafting, and it's also pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. You're good at
we're gonna guess there is gonna be a bit of a different crafting, like we said. They have said you could be a baker and a blacksmith, and alchemy has also been mentioned.
Alchemy and herbalism, and I think also lumberjack.
Yeah,
is probably gonna be
things like that. But overall, this is the skill group called crafting.
Yeah, and they craft. The gatherer. Which I find a little bit like the survival.
Yeah, except I think survival is for, what do you call it, food to survive yourself, and water and tracking prey, like they said. Whereas gathering is more like finding minerals and materials, where survival is being hunting things.
The deviant, which will be Lux,
is one of the last two are the rather interesting ones.
They are the exciting ones. They are the kind of newly thought of.
Yeah, and the kind of special for this game.
Yeah, exactly. The deviant is gonna be, as said, Lux, the scummy little thief who steals from everyone and can't figure out how to fend for themselves without stealing.
Pickpockets.
Pickpockets. I think it's.
Cut person was also mentioned. Creating false identities and forging documents.
Yeah. So just. Deviant, just stay away from them. we can warn you now. Just stay away from deviants. I don't actually know if you'll be able to see what class, what skills people have.
I'm not sure. I actually think you have to go up to someone and ask, "Are you a blacksmith?"
Yeah, I would like that because
it's not good for the thieves.
I would say otherwise it would be a very hard game for the deviants if everyone can see their deviants. And then the bardic, which is
also rather interesting. It's the one where it's a funny. Yeah, it's a funny mix because. They're taking their inspiration from Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Because there, a bard is not just a person performing.
No.
A bard is also someone searching for knowledge. You could perhaps, again, I'm gonna take some Game of Thrones. With Sam and the Maesters. It's a bit of you're a performer / maester.
Performer / maester. I hope that makes sense.
And it's very important to say, we actually think, or we're quite sure that you'll be able to blend or mix.
Yeah, you'll be able to mix the several classes. So you can be bardic and deviant, which is gonna be
me.
Or you can be combat and survival, which I also think is a pretty good mix.
Yeah, that's a bit of a hunter, which you play in WoW.
Exactly. Wow, your tablet has really good battery. It was like 85 when I turned it on.
It's quite good. It can stay.
That's impressive.
For 5 days or something.
Wow. I like that.
It's good.
The noble system.
Yeah.
Do you please?
I should explain this.
I don't really understand it.
To explain the noble system, in COE, you can be kings and queens, dukes and duchesses, counts and countesses, and barons and baronesses. That's the pearl. We're going with it. And actually, it seems like the people who are invested in the game as of now get these things called influence points.
So the Kickstarter contributors, those, and we're guessing those who have contributed
a lot of money,
$500 and up
dollars.
Those are the ones getting these titles from the beginning. Is it important to say that others can not easily but win these titles or gain these titles?
Yeah, that's true. You can conquer other people's lands and such.
Yeah, through own effort, or probably
you can also inherit. There's a lot of other
and maybe
possibilities.
you can just kind of say make your own land and then just say this is mine now.
Yeah, when you start the game, there are 3 to 5 kingdoms, and under those kingdoms on every server, and under those kingdoms there are lesser counties or lesser areas, which in all gives, what was it, about 1,000 towns? I think
1,000 towns. 1,000 counties across a server. In every of the 1,000 counties, there will be about 400 characters.
Yeah, spread out.
And it's important to say, which also means it's an extremely big server.
It is, and a big game.
And a big game.
It should also be good to tell that these 400 characters will be both NPCs and PCs.
And OPCs.
Yeah, OPCs are, just to explain these terms, NPCs are non-player characters, so they
which are characters that are
controlled by AI. Yeah,
and will always be controlled by AI.
And the player characters are you and me and all the other people playing this game.
Yeah.
But when you go offline, then your character stays in the game, because if you're a baker or a blacksmith, people should still be able to get things from you
or by mail.
Yeah.
So you become an OPC. An offline player character.
Yeah, so your character stays in the game.
Which basically means that when you log out, your character still remains in the game and keeps doing
tasks
and what you as a blacksmith and what you, I think, as I expect, what you in your skill tree have set as your persona.
What you're gonna do when you are offline.
Yeah.
But that's just a bit of the noble system. You have the king, and you have some dukes, and you have some barons and such.
And it's a big world.
It's a big world.
It's a big world. Land, housing.
Yeah.
I don't know if we mentioned this actually, but in this in COE, it's actually possible to buy your own land for whatever you want. It could be.
We don't know how much it costs, but
we don't know how much it costs or how big of an investment it's gonna be, but. It's gonna do everything you can do with land. It's gonna it can be agriculture, it can be just a house, a big house. But as we've learned, or a tavern, a business, or construction, which would be some sort of industry, maybe mining or harvesting.
Yeah.
Oil or some shit.
Yeah, just to say it's the non-renewable resources. It's the thing you just can't make again. If you have a farm, plants grow back.
Yeah,
but you can't just wait for oil to grow back.
Exactly. So as far as we know it, the plot that you buy can be used for all of this.
They have what you call it in-game housing, and it's not phased. It's not like in World of Warcraft or something like that, where every player that walks to their own house shares the same space with others. Yeah. People can just walk into your house or your building or your farm in this game.
So our concern was actually that too many players would start getting houses, which meant that there will be houses everywhere.
Yeah, and abandoned houses. A city could be abandoned
and empty houses and stuff like that. Yeah. But they've
made a solution.
They've made, I would say, only semi-solution.
Yeah, it's rather interesting. If you or a part of your family hasn't been in the house or the plot for 28 days.
If it has been standing empty for 28 days straight.
Yeah. But another player can claim it and try to get it.
He can make an offer, right?
He can make an offer to get that area.
Yeah. And then the Duke.
I think.
Or the Count. The Duke or the Count. We don't know what stands higher. One of those will then be able to either accept or decline.
Yes.
This offer. The thing that worries me about this is that if everyone suddenly starts to leave, then there's gonna be a lot of houses for sale, but no one to buy them.
Oh, that's true.
So what I was thinking that maybe after 60 days, I mean after the first 28/30 days of no one buying them, then there would start another timer of another 30/28 days,
and then the house would just disappear.
If nothing had happened there, it would just be maybe just a ruin or something. You know, if cities get abandoned or if people start migrating, that seems like something that actually could happen in this game. Then a lot of houses are just going to be standing empty. If that's going to be standing there for, you know, half a year, more than a year, which we know is more in Chronicles of Elyria, then it would actually start to decay.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't, because they're for sale. You know?
Yeah, I see.
So maybe
it might be a solution.
Hey. And then there's a Spark of Life system,
which is their way of paying for the game.
It's basically the payment system.
Yeah. You get the game and the Spark of Life.
And the Spark of Life, which essentially is a soul, which is immortal and will never die. And that's the Spark of Life.
Yeah, and it passes from the first character you make to the next and the next and the next.
And then
so what is rather interesting is that this game you only have one character unless you buy another Spark of Life.
Yeah. So actually, when you buy the game, you're only allowed to have one character, and if you want more, you will have to buy these Sparks of Life.
Yeah. And they're going for about, I think it was $30.
$30. Yeah.
So it's rather interesting. It really is, because, like we said, you have the soul that is essentially your character.
Yeah.
And then he has a lot of vessels throughout his lifetime.
Yeah.
He has his first body and the next and the next and the next.
Yeah.
And you keep the traits of your former selves.
Yeah. Again, extremely fucking ambitious. But we also have to remember it's very new. I mean, the Kickstarter started...
Was it in May?
Yeah, so 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So it's not because, I mean, in a way it's kind of impressive. First of all, that they already want to launch in late 2017.
Yeah, that's about 1.5 years.
Yeah, that's 18 months essentially, and that they already have alpha footage.
Yeah.
So as you can,
I guess it's pre-alpha footage.
Pre-alpha footage, maybe. You're right. When you look at it that way, it's kind of promising.
It is.
But I think what's the most ambitious thing is that they want to implement all this. They want to do all this before like September 2017.
And we should perhaps expect it being a bit delayed.
I would actually say I would be surprised if it got released before spring 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we go into
I think we should go into some of the discussion questions. And that the first one is what we just talked about. It has a cool features. Can it deliver on them all?
Yeah. Will they pull them on you?
And honestly, I'm optimistic. I mean,
you're a bit more optimistic than I am. I
am. I think it can be done, and I think I'm saying this just because of the reasons I just mentioned, that they've stopped their Kickstarter. I mean, after 45 days,
and it was a good thing.
They have already some footage of the world, and they seem to be on a lot of things already very clear about what they
want to do,
and what's going to happen. And I think after like 2 months in development, that's a good start.
Yeah, it is. I also think I'm a bit skeptical because I don't want to get hyped.
Yeah.
Because when you get hyped, your standards are set very high, and then then there's no way the game can live up to that.
No.
And then you just hate it because it's not that good as you thought it would be.
That's true.
So that's why I think I'm a bit skeptical.
Yeah, that's also a fair way of going about it, because it is in this industry with gaming, things can fall apart very quickly.
Very quickly. Next question or next critique point.
Should they go early access?
I think it's a good thing for people to actually see what they're making. The only thing about early access, it can exhaust the players actually playing it. Because if it has been on early access for half a year, they've played it all.
and exactly. And if I think they should go anything like early access, like they should do like a closed beta or closed alpha.
I think that's the good thing.
With limited amounts of things to do, so you don't run dry.
I'm not too keen on the early access either.
No, the public early access I think is a bad idea in general. Yeah. Actually, I think I've never seen really a game where it like works perfectly.
One of Evolve was a game that came out a couple of years ago.
Ark Survival thing?
No, just Evolved.
Oh.
Evolve, I think it was called. It was made by the guys who made Left 4 Dead.
Oh.
It was the game where a player played a giant monster and the remaining 4 had to defend themselves. But it had been in early access for such a long time that when it finally came out,
people were tired of it.
People had already done all there had to be done.
Yeah. How vague is it? That's your
Yeah,
question.
that's my critique point. It's just when you read the website and such, there is a bit. You think it sounds pretty cool, and it does sound pretty cool, but you don't.
There's not anything concrete.
There's not any examples or anything. You're just like, oh, that sounds cool, and then you're like, but what does it actually mean?
But I think that's difficult with the Kickstarter because people need to know what they're
buying into. Yeah.
So I think they've kind of had to say this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. But I mean, they have a forum which we're gonna link down below, so you can go in and probably ask it yourself.
Yeah, check it out. I had a critique point more about this classless system.
And throwing away the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, the Holy Trinity with damage dealers and tanks and healers.
Yeah.
Because it's quite the foundations. Again, if you look at Dungeons and Dragons, you had the fighter, the priest, and the mage, and then rangers and thieves and such. But you had this Holy Trinity that needed each other to survive.
Yeah. But I guess it's also different from Dungeons and Dragons and World of Warcraft in the sense that there's no real enemy.
Yeah.
There's no real...
But Dungeons and Dragons doesn't always have an enemy. I myself like to play thieves or mages or something. And it seems like you can be a thief with the deviant skill tree.
Yeah.
But the players who wants to play a healer or a mage or a warlock,
yeah,
it seems like they can't. And perhaps that would be a bit hard for some people, that these fantasy classes isn't available.
Alright, so I see what you mean. So the classes they've grown accustomed to is not going to be...
Doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's going to be like that with everything except the combat.
Yeah.
I think the combat is going to be very like the warrior or the... I can't remember his name in Diablo. That's a big guy. Barbarian, thank you. Which is going to be very straightforward. You're going to learn how to kill people and defend yourself. But other than that, I think it's going to be very new experiences. All the skills. So I think if you're looking for a game that's like World of Warcraft, Diablo, or you also mentioned one, I can't remember. Guild Wars. You're not going to find it.
No.
Because it's not going to be based on fighting, which those games are, which most MMORPGs are. This is going to be a mixture of combat and sims.
Yeah, it's a bit of a simulation and
exactly
an RPG.
Yeah.
I would just finish this question or topic off with me saying that it's actually also a bit exciting. Like I said, I love to play mages, and it is a bit exciting that only 5% of the players will get to experience magic and wield it. That means I'm really, if I play this game, and I think I want to, I really want to be in the 5%. I really want to be one of the guys, like Gandalf walking around on Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Being that guy.
Be one of the few that actually...
has magic.
Yeah.
And that's really appealing.
How big is this game?
How fucking big is this game?
It's fucking big, dude.
It seems like it's giant. Like we said, there is a lot of towns.
As we said before, I think it was 1,000 counties, which is like large areas of land.
Yeah. With towns.
And within those I don't know if it was the counties or the cities within the counties.
I'm not quite sure.
There was about 400 people in every, let's just say, county.
Yeah.
That means that there are about, 400,000?
1,000 times
400.
Yeah, that's
400,000,
true. Yeah.
Right? There would be about 400,000 characters walking around.
Including NPCs and PCs.
Yeah. So that's about 400,000 on every server.
And that's quite a lot. And it seems like the world map is going to be big.
the world map is going to be big, and there's not going to be a map.
There's not going to be a world map.
There's not going to be a world map.
You can't just click on M and then your world map
appears. You can only see like local stuff.
I'm not quite sure you even can. You need to go out and find the map in the world.
But is it going to be a problem that there's no world map? Or it's going to be hard to obtain a world map?
It's a bit of both, because I actually think it's hard because you don't know what is out in the world.
Yeah, but it's also somewhat realistic. Very realistic.
It is. But the exciting thing is it really encourages exploration.
Yeah.
You don't know what is out there. You don't know where the other kingdoms are unless you ask around or actually find them.
Yeah.
And that's rather exciting.
So you kind of like it.
Yeah, I think. It's ambitious and has some good things, but it also has bad things.
Alright, I'm more ambivalent. I think it can be a real problem. Because we also have to remember that in some forms the developers have to appeal to the players.
Yeah, and how do you find your friends if they're in another kingdom?
Exactly. Exactly.
But perhaps
in some ways it can be very frustrating not to have a map. And I think there's probably also going to be like listings on some sort of board where you can say, if you need to go to this kingdom, you need to go that, and then turn
if
right.
you need to go to Penisville.
If you need to go to Penisville, then walk that way until it gets night, and then just take a right, and then you're there. We have the thing we call the burn hype factor. Hype factor is like from 1 to 10, how hyped are you? And then the burn factor would more be from 1 to 10, if it doesn't launch, how burned will you be?
Well, if it actually delivers on all the promises, it would be a definite 9. 8 or 9.
On hype.
On hype. And again, the burn factor, if they don't deliver on their promises, it would probably be also 8 or 9.
Yeah.
It's gonna crash or burn with me.
Yeah. I think hype. I think I'm 9.5.
Yeah.
You're
very hyped.
I'm very excited for this game. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's every time I've been playing a game that I love, whether it be MMORPG or just a simple game. There's always been things that I thought, oh, it would be cool if it had.
If they had this and this and this.
It would be cool if we could do this. And
they have it.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't feel this about this. I don't feel like I don't feel like, oh, it'd be cool if you could do this. I feel like they've covered
all their bases.
Almost all.
We even saw they had parkour.
Yeah. so I'm very 9.5. I think. But burn, I would say I'm gonna say 10.
You're gonna be angry.
I'm gonna be angry.
And bitter.
Not because I've pledged anything or paid anything, but it's just for getting my hopes up so high and then just taking them away.
Yeah.
I'll be so mad.
I get it.
I'll be very angry.
I guess this was the first episode of Talkthrough.
Talkthrough.
Where we talk about things we find interesting.
Yeah. If you have heard about the game or would like to know more about the game, I think we're gonna put the website in the description below, where they have, everything there is about this game is on that webpage. You can see some alpha footage, you can see some concept art about what the
game is.
Yeah, what the building style is gonna be, how the people and persons are gonna look. If you like this video and like Talkthrough, then maybe give us a like
and a comment.
And a comment saying what you like, maybe what you don't like, what you like about COE, and what you
are excited for.
Yeah, if you maybe have some ideas about what we can do in another Talkthrough, we'll also love to hear it. But yeah,
that's about it, I guess.
I think that's about it.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
No,